A human ate my homework. Written by Catfish21SM. Assignment: find a species of pre-sapient alien fauna, write a report about it and its role within its natural environment, then present a member of that species along with your report to the entire class.
Quiet down, everyone. Quiet down. Class is now in session. Does everyone have their homework ready for review today?
A single hand-like appendage went up in the air.
What is it this time, Miss Krajewski? Yes, ma'am. I don't have my original assignment or my presentation.
And why not?
Well, you see, ma'am, a human ate my homework.
Miss Krajewski, what is a human? What has your fantastical little mind come up with now?
Well, humans are the coolest things, ma'am. They are a large bipedal species. They are a primitive species that are yet to enter the Galactic Council, but they have an intelligence score of 9, with an adaptability score of 20. They live on a Category 9 Deathworld, which has a natural gravitational force of 4 times galactic standard gravity, and
that's enough, Miss Krajewski. Even if I were to believe that such an impossible species did happen to exist, it has been determined to be impossible for any predatory species to ever reach space. They simply lack the coordination and cooperation necessary to do so. What that means, Miss Krajewski, is that the human you are speaking of cannot be a predator. Thus, your homework should be intact. Or did you make a mistake and decide to write your report about the species of flora rather than fauna? I assume that you do know the difference, correct, Miss Krajewski?
I do know the difference, ma'am.
And if you'd let me continue, then I would have told you that the humans are omnivores. They eat both flora and fauna species. Their diet seems to consist equally of both. Furthermore, they are pack hunters, so coordination and cooperation are not an issue for them. Not just that, but they have earned a spot as the apex predators on their homeworld. Miss Krajewski, what are you telling me only grows more and more fantastical as time goes on? I've never even heard of these humans, and yet you have interacted with them enough to know this much about them, and you have been close enough to one that it was able to steal and eat your homework. Well, you know that my father is a diplomat with the Galactic Council. The species was discovered a few years ago, and the Council has been working to confirm that they are eligible for uplift. The Council has decided that they are eligible for uplift and has approved uplift protocol. The announcement should go live any day now. But anyways, since the Council approved it, the diplomats were allowed to introduce their families to the humans, and I got to meet one in person. Then I take my homework. Miss Krajewski, do you really expect me to believe all of this? You understand that the ratings you gave in the beginning of class of intelligence and adaptability are on a 10-point scale. If such a species did exist, its level of adaptability would be several orders of magnitude above the current most adaptable species in the galaxy. Such a species simply cannot exist. Almost every description that you've given about this species from the moment that you began describing them is an impossibility. Please sit down and let us continue with class.
I knew you'd say that. That's why I brought one with me.
You what?
I brought a human with me.
My dad said that it would be okay since the Galactic Council has already approved integration protocols and will go public with it any day now anyway. And where is this so-called human? Oh, that should be them walking down the hallway now. A loud clanking sound could be heard coming down the hall. It sounded like the footsteps of an extraordinarily heavy biped. Kujovsky got up and walked to the entrance of the class, greeting the human as it walked in. Several students jumped out of their seats and ran to the back of the class as the forward-facing eyes of a predator surveyed the classroom. One of the students instinctively let out a foul-smelling liquid as a self-defense measure. The predator was much smaller than they had initially predicted. Several students were 4 times its height and girth. Most of the students, having evolved on a world with no known natural predators, were perfectly fine in the presence of the human though. In fact, they were more surprised at the reactions of the other students.
So, human, how should I address you? Oh, my name's Homura Akemi. I'm what the Galactic Council designates as a female of my species. The translator kicked in, translating what she said as she spoke. Thank you, Miss Homura. So a question for you. Was your stomping just now a predatory intimidation tactic? Oh, no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare anyone. That was my magnetic boots. Magnetic boots? Why are you wearing items that are normally used in a zero-gravity environment? Well, you see, the gravity here is a lot less than Earth and is hard to walk in. I'm not used to it yet, so they gave me these magnetic boots to help me walk properly. Oh, if it's not rude, may I ask you to demonstrate? Sure. She reached down and punched a button, turning off the electromagnetics in her boots, then carefully stood up in a wobbling motion, trying to keep her balance. She then jumped at a breakneck speed, almost slamming into the ceiling. As if she were a cat, she turned around in mid-air and landed on all fours on the ceiling, seeming to almost come to a rest there, then quickly jumped back down to the floor. She moved almost as if there were no gravity at all in the room, causing one student to pass out. After reaching the floor, she began to stand back up, but quickly fell to the ground, catching herself easily with her hands and pressing the buttons on her boots once more. She stood back up as if nothing had happened. Is that enough? Looking surprised at an act that she previously thought to be impossible, the professor took a moment to catch her breath before responding. Yes, Miss Homura, that is enough. Will you be joining us in class today? Well, that was the initial plan, but that might be a bad idea, she said, surveying the students who were fighting for the corner furthest away from her, one of them easily twice her size. Yes, you are quite right. It might be best if you returned for now. Before you go, however, I have one last question for you. What's that? Why did you eat Miss Kujowski's homework? Oh, that. Well, when we met, she didn't believe that I ate meat, and she just held out this weird creature and told me to eat it. My father thought it might be considered rude to turn her down, so we had it tested and confirmed that it was safe for human consumption. Then we had our chefs prepare it, and I ate it for her. Huh. Miss Kujowski, what was this about a human eating your homework again? Well, I didn't lie.